everybody, welcome to another drive-through rundown. Today we're going to take a look at a very different expansion for Frostgrave. This is called Ulterior Motives. And what this is a set of special kind of secret mission cards types of things that you can add to each mission or campaign or whatever scenario you're going to play in Frostgrave. If you're familiar with Malifaux and even Warhammer 40k to an extent, this kind of adds a little bit of nice flavor and extra spice and kind of secondary or tertiary objectives to whatever you're doing in your main game, the Frostgrave. So let's open this up and take a look at it. All right, and this is everything that you get in the box. You can see you get 40 of these Ulterior Motive cards, and these are nice, good cardstock quality, very thick, big cards. And you've got just a little bit of rules explanation here for how these are going to change the game and how the game's going to change if you decide to introduce these. So basically, players will each get one of these and then they can do it. But it's going to change up a little bit how you put the treasure out. So you won't put out as much treasure as before. You'll always put one treasure token in the exact center of the table, and then players will take turns each placing 2 treasure instead of the normal 3. And players must deploy within 1 inch of their starting edge, and wizards only gain 40 experience for treasure recovered instead of the normal 50, because you're going to get some other goodies here. Now sometimes you're going to have red herrings here, so it's going to tell you to put stuff out onto the table that won't necessarily be treasure. It might be, like I say, a red herring, kind of divert the other player and what they're going to do. If we take a look here at the back, it basically tells you about 2 types of motives. You've got reveal motives and secret motives, and I'll explain what those are here. Now the other thing to note here is it just gives you a list of possible things that are going to appear in here. So you've got arcane discs, gateways, pits, and then also on the back here, zombies, different creatures might show up beyond that, and you've got runic stones, sarcophagi, statues, and so on. So you want little tokens or terrain pieces to do that. Now, if you watch my Frostgrave video, I've covered a lot of different creatures and stuff that you go on. Obviously, you could just use kind of placeholder creatures. You don't have to have the exact thing, because it's usually a very specific thing, and it might even have slightly different, abilities or something like that. But I do have these bases here. These are kind of Age of Sigmar bases, and like you see, it's kind of like a half-broken doorway. And these are mainly hero bases. They're meant to have your heroes on top of them, but you can just use them as tokens, which is what I normally use them for. And so you got these little cool things you can do. You got this little wood pieces and stuff, and maybe like this little lion face here, that could be a trap door or something, and you've got like a little altar here with a skull. So you can get that stuff, anything like that you can get to kind of fill in and act as some of the red herrings or the actual goals of these. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at a couple of these. Now I'm a little bit on the fence about talking about the secret ones. Now there's enough in here that I don't think it's really going to spoil, but I'm going to just go over a few of the reveal ones and then maybe like 1 or 2 of the secret ones, just to kind of keep the mystery. And let's start here with this one. This is Break the Illusion. This is a reveal. And this really will give you a good sense of kind of a little bit of the theme and story that kind of goes behind some of these, and how it sort of supplements your main sort of mission or goal that you're going for. So this is called Break the Illusion. It says, sometimes your apprentice really is a scatterbrained fool. While escaping from the frost giants, she hid the treasure behind a powerful permanent illusion. But now she can't remember what form it took. If it wasn't such a valuable treasure, you just leave it and her to freeze in the city. So it says here, place an arcane disc, statue, runic stone, pit, gateway, trapdoor, and sarcophagus at least halfway across the table from your starting board edge. None of these terrain items should be closer than 6 inches to each other. So you set up some items. Basically, it's like which one of these was hiding the treasure from before. So it says, whenever any member of your warband touches one of these terrain items, remove it from the table, gain 10 experience points, and roll a die. If the die roll is 16 plus, remember you roll a d20 in this game, place a special treasure token on the table in contact with the figure that touched the terrain. If you secure this token, you may roll 3 times on the treasure table after the game and select which one of those results to keep. If you touch the last terrain on the table and you've not already discovered it, then it's automatically going to have the cool treasure. If your opponent takes it, then they just get 100 gold pieces. So just the kind of an overall general rule is that when you put something out like this, once you find whatever it is, that's usually, it's just going to be the only one. It's not like you can get multiple. the wording in the card may not be clear, but there is wording in the rules that does clarify that in the case of, like, you know, maybe it's possible to find something twice based on the wording on the card. No, it's not, because the general rules override that. So this is kind of a funny one because, you know, you on a previous adventure, you ran into some giants, you had something really cool, you escaped, and then you lost it, and now maybe you're back here and you're like, oh, there they are, you know, so that's pretty funny. Now we're going to get into a secret here. This is the transporter. And the thing about a secret is, so the reveal, this is going to happen after you deploy. You'll set all this stuff up. The secret, you're only going to reveal it once the trigger happens from the text that we're going to see here. So it says here, the little background fluff is, in an ancient text, you found the word to activate an arcane platform that will transport you to a hidden treasure chamber. So you know that. So it says place an arcane disc on the table halfway across. Now you also have these red herrings here, a statue and a runic stone. So you'll place those out, but you know that the arcane disc is the spot that you want to get to where the statue and the runic stone are not. So in this case, you're trying to get to the arcane disc. Any figure in your warband that's not an animal or undead or anything can go and activate the transporter. Then you reveal this card, immediately remove from the game all figures in your warband that are standing on the disc. You gain 5 experience points for each member in the warband that leaves the game. Treasure carried is secured. And then in addition, at the end of the game, roll 1 die and add 2 for each member of the warband that made it through. If the result is 16 or higher, you gain an additional treasure token, although you don't get experience for that treasure. So there you go. Next is the next secret one. This is the last secret that I'll talk about here. It's called Rest in Peace. So the gist of this is you're going to place a zombie in the center of the table, also an arcane disc and a statue. If you kill the zombie with your wizard, you get 40 points. If somebody else in your warband does, you get 30. If the other team kills it, you'll get 20. And then if it'll drop a treasure token, and that treasure token's worth an additional 30 points. Basically, it's an old friend that has died, and you're going to kind of just do the old Walking Dead on him. You see your friend as a zombie, you're like, well, I gotta put him out of his misery, kind of thing. Now this one is interesting to me. It's called Payback, and basically this is a reveal. You'd say at the beginning of the game, you pick a soldier from the rival warband. Now, if there is no soldier type in that rival warband, then you would discard and draw a new one. So anytime you get one like, well, this one is not possible, you discard it, draw a new one. Basically, you get 60 points, experience points, if your wizard kills it. You get 50 if somebody in your warband kills it, and if like an NPC kills it, you get 25 experience. In addition, if it's killed, that soldier receives -2 to the survivor roll when you're wrapping up the game. Basically, it's somebody that you hate. So you single them out, and you want to make it a point to get payback and get revenge on that particular soldier. This is a different one here. This one is called the Courier, and basically you select 1 or 2 soldiers from your warband, and you want to try to exit them across on the opposite deployment zone. If you do, you get 15 or 25 extra experience, and you get a free base upgrade if you do that. If you get at least 1. So the idea is that these guys are carrying some kind of massive treasure that it takes 2 people to carry, and so this gives you like another objective that you might just try to sneak them off the edge there and get some extra experience and a base upgrade above and beyond what they would normally be doing in the game. So just more of a small upgrade to what your goals are. This is another interesting one here. So in this case, you have come across a cursed artifact, and you're going to put a pit within 12 inches of the board opposite your starting edge. You choose a soldier in your warband to take a kind of a special treasure token, and what they need to do is get within an inch of that pit, and they can throw it and basically discard and remove this cursed artifact from the universe. You're going to get 75 experience points with that. If the opponent takes it, then they just get it as like kind of a normal treasure token. But again, another interesting kind of side quest idea. You've modified the overall treasure and experience that you're going to get in the game, but you've got now a different sort of tack and strategy to go after with this, removing this cursed artifact. Now finally here we have the Oubliette. And I just wanted to kind of show this one because some of these require other expansions. Like this particular one, you'll want the Forgotten Packs expansion, and it also wants you to have a minor demon to put next to this trapdoor. And some of the other ones I've seen, they want stuff out of the Lich Lord box and stuff like that. So if you get something like that, of course you can just discard it and draw it. There's not a ton in here. You don't really need those other expansions to use this. You could just have the base game and that's it. But it's nice to have that extra stuff. So this one is, many people heard the seer's prophecy that the demon could be freed only when the moon was right, but only you know the secret protections from its power. Tonight is the night. You have placed wards upon yourself and your warriors, and you have scouted out the way to the door of the ancient oubliette. So you put a trapdoor at least halfway across the table from your starting edge, and you place a minor demon there. If you have a figure in base contact with the trapdoor, that figure can spend an action to open it. To open the door, the figure must make a fight roll with a target number of 16. If the door's open, the wizard gets 30 experience and may add the true name treasure to his vault, which is in Forgotten Packs. In addition, immediately make a +0 attack against every figure on the board that is not part of your warband. In addition, though, you've got a uncontrolled minor demon right there, so that's immediately going to have something that's going to be roaming around and causing trouble. And a lot of these will have you add like ghouls and different things like that. So you've already got some NPCs on the board to start the game. Well, that's all I pretty much wanted to reveal. Obviously, there's a ton more. Remember I talked about at the beginning, you place that special sort of center treasure in the very center of the table. Sometimes these cards will interact with that. There might be extra creatures that come in and have something to do with it. There's just a variety here, and I think this is really, I would say this is a must get. I did that review of all the Frostgrave expansions up until now. This one might be the number one to get now, because you just get this, you get the base game, and you have here a ton of just variety and replayability above and beyond just basic scenarios. And a lot of these are a lot more, I would say, doable, because you can just play the basic kind of vanilla Frostgrave without any special terrain and different things like that you need. These are just a couple little tokens and things and some monsters, a handful of monsters really. So I would say this is definitely the best one, because you can just get the book, this one, and then you just need maybe 4 or 5 extra monsters, I think, and a couple of these little cool tokens or whatever, or just cardboard chits if you want. And then you've got a ton of replayability and stuff in this, a lot of cool flavor and theme and all that good stuff. So definitely take a look at Ulterior Motives. Thanks.